My fiancé lied about speaking Korean fluently to me for 3 years. I don't know what to think. I 24 have been with Jimmy M 25 for 3 years now. We first met in college and we pretty much instantly hit it off. I'm full Korean while he's half Korean even though he doesn't look like it at all. I was slightest disappointed when I found out that he didn't speak Korean. Pretty much everyone in my family speak it, so more than anything I thought it would be an issue but it wasn't. He told me that he didn't know it but he was studying it, which I thought was a nice gesture. He met my parents for the first time and they speak English but prefer not to speak it much. My parents complained to me pretty much the entire night and even bad-mouthed him quite a bit because of his actions and not understanding Korean. I didn't know at the time, but I really defended him, and although most dinners at my parents' house were them being fake nice to him, I tried my best to stick up for him. The first time my parents met his dad and his sister, they spoke very poorly of them. It was downright insulting. His dad had some pretty weird behavior that was frowned upon. I would always talk with my parents on the phone while we lived on campus, often on speakerphone, and Jimmy would just kind of play dumb. Even with my friends, many of them were very rude to him after I told them he didn't understand it. He proposed to me at our favorite park 3 months ago in Korean and I was so blown away by it. I thought it was the sweetest thing in world. I cried for joy and happy accepted. I was so proud of him. Fast forward to last week, one of Jimmy's old-time friends had returned from his assignment overseas and met us for dinner, really nice and respectable guy. And he talking and just full-blown starts speaking in Korean to Jimmy and I'm taken back. Oh, he doesn't know much, he's still learning. The guy scratches his head and goes, "Jimmy is the guy who helped teach me Korean, what are you talking about?" And at first I didn't know what to think. I was relieved and excited that Jimmy actually knew it, but the more I thought about it the more angry I became. When I confronted him about why he didn't tell me sooner, he said that when his mother passed on his 18th birthday he stopped speaking altogether and just started telling people he didn't understand it. He said that it reminds him of her. Which is understandable, but I don't know if I can accept something like that. When I told my parents, my dad was overjoyed while my mother had a panicked look on herself as she recalled all the nasty things they said about him and his family in front of them. My dad seemed to brush it off and fully understood Jimmy's reasoning for not speaking it anymore, but I don't know if I can be so forgiving. I feel like he's been secretly spying on me for the past 3 years. He lied to me about it. Even my friends, he treated everyone so kindly even though they all at some point talked bad about him. I don't know if he's noble and romantic or if he's just been using it to his advantage. Our relationship is otherwise perfect and it seems like such a silly minor detail to get upset over, but I don't know. Am I wrong for not letting this go so lightly? I think he should have told me way sooner. Update. First, I want to say that I admit I was totally wrong for trying to make this about me, and I realize my parents and friends as well as myself were all horrible people, which I agree with. I spoke with Jimmy same day I posted the thread. I actually invited him over to my parents' place for dinner, but before that I stopped by his parents' house to apologize to him, his dad and his younger sister for everything because I felt so embarrassed and horrible. I apologized profusely to his dad, who did nothing but laugh. His dad was beyond understanding and actually spoke Korean quite well himself. He actually laughed, saying that he understands why my parents were the way they are. He even told me about the story of when he first met Jimmy's mom's parents in Korea and how much she warned him about their behavior. He said that she explained it to him and he understood and was able to respect where their concerns were coming from in terms of wanting to preserve their language and all heritage. He told me it started off rocky, but they shut up so fast when he surprised them and spoke it fluently. He said his relationship with her parents is now stronger than ever, especially since she passed away, and he calls them twice a week just to chat. He said that when he heard that I stuck up for Jimmy he was proud of me even though he never said anything. Jimmy's sister, she's only 12 but is super sweet and mature for her age. She said that when Jimmy started dating me was the day he started teaching and talking to her in Korean again. It was really precious the way she described it. His dad teaches and talks to her as well, but she really likes when Jimmy does it. As for Jimmy and I, we've been working together to resolve our communication issues and we've spent a lot of time talking all about us. I admitted all my concerns and he addressed them one by one and told me exactly what I needed to hear. He apologized for keeping it from me for so long and told me that he didn't do it maliciously. He just didn't want to associate Korean with the negativity that my parents and friends brought. Which I find is extremely understandable. He said he regarded the language as something pure that him and his mother often shared together, that he didn't want to engage in with my parents and friends. He admitted that it probably sounded silly, but I understood him on an emotional level. He told me about how close him and his mom were. We had never talked this in-depth about it before and I cried like a little baby because I could tell how much he loved and missed her. He told me that she always teased/warned him about the complications of marrying a full-blood Korean while he was a teenager and he didn't truly understand until he met my parents and friends. I even found out that Jimmy was born and lived in Korea for 12 years. I feel like our relationship is stronger as ever. My doubts and worries are gone and we're going to be a lot more open with one another. I'm ashamed I ever tried to doubt him. He has been speaking Korean to me a lot more exclusively since I've apologized to him. Most probably won't understand, but he took me to see his mother's grave and it was probably one of the most touching moments I've ever had with him. I kneeling beside him listening as he told her about me, basically how he knew he had found the person he would make new memories with and how he would have to go back on a promise. I don't think I've ever cried so much in my life, I couldn't even stop. We had dinner with my parents on Tuesday and Jimmy spoke to them in Korean for the first time and my parents apologized for their tongue. I think I didn't make it as clear as I should in my original post, but after I defended him they cut back significantly. Jimmy jokingly apologized for their years of disappointment, teasing them for their original concerns. He told them a little about his mom and when he told them his mother's maiden name my father's eyes lit up. He didn't really go into detail, but he think he might have known of her family. It made him extremely chatty and open. I've never seen my father so excited to talk to someone before in my life. Jimmy also brought up that his family is planning a trip to Korea this summer and he offered to pay for all of us to come with them. My parents haven't been back in years and they happily accepted his offer. Jimmy is wonderful really, I'm lucky to have him and I'll never let him go. Thanks for the advice.